Hey everyone, my name is Nathan. I'm one of your ministers. Welcome to your Wednesday update. I wanted to hit on three things. Um, One is just what's coming up, two is what's going on, and then three is some feel good stuff. This Sunday, Leslie Grover, chair of our worship guild and member of the Preacher Pack, is going to be preaching. It's about like an emancipatory hope. Uh, I actually should have written down what she was going to, the title. I have the title, but well, look on your email. The title will be there. And then the following week, we're going to start our Pride Month. Kathy Smith, our director of family ministry, who's back from sabbatical, is going to preach about sort of her time away and her time back and what she's learned. And then, there's more cool stuff coming up, but those are kind of the things for you to mark. So I was reading the paper today, which is becoming it's a heavy task. And the legislature just passed bills that the governor is going to sign that I believe they've made a 25-foot buffer zone around recording police officers, but also made it okay for someone who's driving a car to hit someone if they're blocking a road in a protest. Like that, it can be considered self-defense or something like that. Specifically, they say like you have to be fearful for your life. But as we saw just in Texas, where the governor pardoned someone who shot a protester and was convicted of murder. Okay, so I'm getting distracted. But where I'm going with this is, well, actually, they even passed one that if you are found guilty of coordinating a protest that resulted in violence, even if it's not your doing, I think you can get charged on racketeering charges now. Like, so the legislature is doing some pretty sketchy stuff, in my view. And I keep getting drawn back to the second half of the Theodore Parker quote. So you've probably heard the King quote, "The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice," which points to the eschatology of this church, which is the idea that things are getting better and each generation brings us closer to the kingdom of God or to beloved community or whatever language of paradise works for you. Right now, it's feeling hard to get there. But here's what Theodore Parker said, who Abraham Lincoln quoted, who King quoted. And, his is a little more rambly and white New England 1850s. He said, "Look at the facts of the world. You see a continual and progressive triumph of the right. I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience. But from what I see, I am sure it bends towards justice." And he said this in an era of horrific divide in this country, where an entire group of people was enslaved, where it was criminalized in the other parts of the country to free people from slavery. And he was getting into some pretty big trouble with his own desire to free people from slavery. So that quote and his viewing of the world as getting better comes in the midst of some of the most turbulent times and some of the worst times for some of the people who lived in this country that this country has ever experienced. But there's a second part of the quote that we don't talk about a lot, which, because it's a little scary, bearing in mind Theodore Parker also was one of the Secret Six who funded John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry, which basically launched the Civil War. In the late 1850s, Theodore Parker fled to Florence, Italy. I mean, they said he was going there because he was in poor health and they had a spring or something that he could drink water from. But I think it was getting too hot in America and he left. But the second part of his quote, "I can divine it by conscience, but from what I see, it bends towards justice. Things refuse to be mismanaged long. Just as Jefferson," talking about Thomas Jefferson, "quaked when he thought of slavery and remembered that God is just, ere all America will tremble. That quote, I'm maybe blowing a sermon here later, but that quote has helped me more than almost any other quote. The part about things refuse to be mismanaged long. It feels to me what's going on in Louisiana is governance that is out of sync with where the people are. I know that I don't believe in conservative and liberal, but I know that this state is a conservative state as it relates to gender identity or agency over your own body or bodily autonomy, or even the. I know that this state is not always where I wished it would be, and it makes sense that the legislature would govern in a way is not where I wished it would be. And when any institution gets so far out over their skis, or when things get mismanaged this much in terms of justice, it just can't stay mismanaged. I'm not actually saying that something bad is going to happen from all of this. What I'm saying is right now feels messy and sloppy and hard to find hope. And that there's hope still there. And that's the point of church. That it is okay for you to be disgusted seeing what is coming out of our capital. It is okay and it is right for us to want better for this state. And this is not about endorsing any political party or political candidate. There's foolishness going on in this legislature all over the place. But what I'm seeing is a majority white legislature making laws against black people. I'm seeing a majority male legislature making laws against women. I'm seeing a majority cis legislature making laws against trans people. This is not rule for all. This is rule of some over others. And the God that I know and that I believe in is that pull towards love and justice. And that God has never failed long term. So that's where I get the hope. But what do we do? First of all, our very presence and our strength is a testament to what can happen in this state. So coming to church, not only is it good for each other because it helps us, work on our spiritual muscles, but making sure there's an institution that is a reliably safe space for people who are just being who they're supposed to be. That's a big deal. So supporting this institution by your presence, your financial gifts, your advocacy, your talking about it out in the world, and your behaving in ways that are warm and welcoming and healthy and let other people be welcomed in here. I have seen UU churches all over this country keep themselves small by how they go out of their way to prove how incompetent they are or how rude they are to visitors. And you have not done that. And that is phenomenal. Those are the things that you can do. It doesn't feel like it's going to fix everything because we're going to have a lot of stuff that's going to need fixing in this state. Not that we haven't for the last 400 years. But being here and being present is one of the key ways that we can keep it going. And I have an example of this, which leads me to the last part of this 9-minute piece. So we share the offering every month, which can sometimes feel a little just, we're doing a thing and it goes off, you give a little money and it goes off into the void. And you don't ever hear about the results. When we were shut down, so we have started splitting every single week the offering. So half goes to the church, half goes to other organizations. There were times during the shutdown where we would bring in $25 in a month. I mean, really, that's how little people were giving online through the offering basket. For whatever reason, this church responds to the physical basket being in front of them or the bursar being in front of them. And online people still give a lot, but there was something about where we are right now. And maybe it was an investment in the church that people feel more confident now. I don't know what it is. I just know the math. There were some organizations we had to decide we were not going to cut a $25 check to an organization. We put a baseline and we just pulled the money out of our social justice budget. So one of the organizations we gave money to recently was the Red Shoes. And I'm showing you this because they wrote us a card. And I just wanted you to hear how your generosity has come back. So the Red Shoes has this thing called a community fridge. I believe we did this in like March. So this is a few months ago. But they just have a fridge outside and they put food in it. So also, if you have food you would like to put in there, you can just bring it. Make sure it's labeled so it's not rotten. And they know what it is and they know the date that it was in there. But the idea is that anyone can just go to this fridge, open it up, and take out food if they need food. We had someone come to the church asking for food, and I was able to tell her about this resource. So this is the letter we got from the Red Shoes. Ooh, relax phone or watch. It says, "Dear friends of the Unitarian Church, thank you for wanting to be part of this daily miracle that is our community fridge. Some families rely on us. They are daily visitors. Others just happen upon it. But for many, especially some older people, it really helps them to have enough food each week. You would be amazed. Some people, something cooked for the fridge. Some people now cook for the fridge and bring 6 to 10 containers from home, cooked lunch or dinner. Your beautiful donation, which was like $2,000, your beautiful donation will help our weekly sandwich makers have enough healthy food to build the sandwiches we make each week. We make more each week. With kids out of school, we will be able to stock some nourishing snacks. And because we don't like to use plastic, your donation will help with our compostable packaging. Thank you, thank you, thank you." Yeah, $2,100 and $2,177. That's how much you gave to this one organization. You know, people who are in need, sometimes they have to go to agencies and they have to prove their income. They have to prove their worth. There's just a lot of hoops to jump through. And sometimes those hoops make sense, but sometimes people just need food. And you, by your presence on Sunday, by your willingness to trust and to share, we're helping so other people can have food. And also because Unitarian Universalists, this is a 13-minute little thing, also because Unitarian Universalists love to think of ourselves as never needing help, which has never been the case. You have made it so other members of this church can have a place where they can go get some food with dignity. So thank you for that. That's it. That's your a little more deep than I expected to be Wednesday update. We'll see you in church on Sunday. Have a good Memorial Day. We got lots of cool stuff coming up in the summer. Please reach out if anything's going on you'd like to talk to one of us about. That's it. We'll see you on Sunday.